Hello everyone, this is B. Sandhya Rani, lecturer in chemistry, GDC Mauan. Before last classes, we are discussing about the coordination chemistry. Before classes, we discussed already what are the terminology is used in coordination chemistry and how we nomenclate the complexes in a UPAC nomenclature. And another one is the Werner's theory we already discussed, and Sidgwick EAN rule also we already discussed. Now we are discussing the valence bond theory. Some theories were proposed to explain the formation of coordination compounds, their geometries, and the nature of the metal ligand bond in last classes. So I already discussed the Werner's theory and Sidgwick theory also. These are called metal ligand bond theories. These the three main bond theories are valence bond theory, crystal field theory, and molecular orbital theory. Now we learn about valence bond theory. This is first of all introduced the theory of valence bond to rectify the defects of Sidgwick theory and to explain the nature of bonds in coordination compound. To explain these things, in 1931, Linus Pauling was introduced this valence band theory. The ground state electron configuration of the central metal atom, the electrons central metal atom, the electronic configuration of the central metal atom in the excited state, and the hybridization of atomic orbitals of the central metal atom play an important role in this theory. So in ground state is the other one electron configuration is there, and in excited state it reset the electron configuration. So this plays an important role in this theory. According to this theory, the formation of the coordination compound is considered as an interaction between an acid and base. If the central metal atom of the coordination complex functions as a Lewis acid and accept electrons, and if the ligands around the central metal atom functions as a Lewis base, already we discussed in Sidgwick theory, and donate electron pairs to the central metal atom, the coordination compound is formed. So another important aspect is that the geometry of the coordination compound and the type of hybridization of orbitals of the central metal atom possesses close relationship. This is only a very important role plays in this theory. The valence bond theory satisfactorily explains the structure and magnetic properties of a large number of coordination compounds. The salient features of this series, the central metal atom already said that it is act as a Lewis acid. So ion has a required number of vacant orbitals for accommodating the electrons donated by the ligands. In this theory, ligands act as a Lewis bases which donates the electron pairs to the central metal atom. The number of vacant orbitals is equal to the coordination number of the metal ion for a particular complex. What is the salient features of this VBT valence bond theory? This vacant orbitals goes hybridization to form a same number of hybrid orbitals. Each ligand has at least one orbital containing lone pair of electrons. Vacant hybrid orbitals filled with ligands to form a coordination bond. Coordination bond is stronger if the overlapping between the orbitals is greater. The vacant orbitals of the metal atom or ion undergo suitable hybridization to yield a set of equivalent hybrid orbitals of definite geometry. For example, cobalt 3 plus ion has a in hybridization in electron configuration. It has a four vacant orbitals, so its coordination number is 4. So to form a coordination band, here it has a 4, that is a set of equivalent suitable hybridization orbitals has to require to form a coordination bond. So it is the coordination number of metal atom, that is the cobalt 3 has 4. Some geometrical shape depends upon the hybridization of the metal orbitals. First of all, we know that sp hybridization. In this sp hybridization, one s orbital and one p orbital is participated as a bond. To make a bond, the structure of molecular geometry is linear. Its coordination number is 2. So, suppose coordination number is 2 means two types of orbitals will be formed. So, one s, one p orbital will be participated in bonding. Examples are diamino silver and dicyano silver, Argentine. Then second one is coordination number 3 means one s orbital, two p orbitals are formed in hybridization. The molecular geometry is trigonal planar and triiodomercury is the example. Then another one is coordination number, if coordination number 4 means one s orbital, three p orbitals will be formed to bond in participating bond formation in hybridization orbitals. The structure, molecular geometry structure is tetrahedral. Examples are tetracarbon nickel and tetracyano-cadmium, tetraamino zinc 2, like that many examples are there. And for example, coordination number 4, the hybridization may be dsp2, that means one d orbital, one s orbital, two p orbitals will be participated in hybridization to form a hybrid dsp2, 4 dsp2 orbitals. In this d orbital used, these dx square minus dy square orbital will be participated. The molecular geometry is a square planar. Here many examples are there, that is tetracyano nickel 2, tetraammonium nickel plus 2 ion, like that, tetrachloropalladium 2, like that. So many examples are there for dsp2 hybrid orbitals. The geometry will be the square planar. Suppose the coordination number is 5, that means 1d, 1s, 3p orbitals, hybrid orbitals will be formed to coordination complex. The geometry of the molecular is bipyramidal, trigonal bipyramidal. Example is pentacarbonyl ferrous, iron 2. These are the examples. That means the hybridization, depend on hybridization, the molecular geometry will be metal orbital of the hybridization of the metal orbital will be decided the molecular geometry. This is the some examples we discussed already. Then if n minus 1 d orbitals are used for hybridization, the complexes is called inner complexes and nd called outer orbitals. That means n minus 1 d orbitals will be participated in hybridization, that is called the inner complexes, whereas the nd orbitals are participated in formation of hybridization, it is called outer complexes. Here one examples are there. Inner 3 orbitals means 3d, 4s, 4p. These are the inner 3 orbital complexes, that is the metal orbitals. This is called low spin or spin paired complexes. So these complexes have low spin or spin paired complexes. Whereas formation, the 4s, 4p and 4d, that is the outer d orbital is participating in hybridization, that is called outer orbital complexes. These complexes have high spin or spin free complexes. When strong field ligands like ammonia and cyano are involved in the formation of complexes, they cause pairing of electrons present in a metal ions. The process is called as a spin pairing. So this is the about VBT theory. Then we go for the structures of some complex compounds based on VBT theory. The examples are structure of nickel tetracarbonyl, formation of nickel tetrachloronickel and tetracyanonyl 2 and hexafluorocobalt, cobalt hexafluoro, then tetraamino cobalt. These are the some example complex compounds we can explain through the VBT theory, that is valence bond theory. As per this theory, the formation of complex compound occurs in the different stages as given below. The metal atom is considered to be a ground state electron configuration. This is called ground state of the atom. As per the valency requirement, the metal atom loses electrons and forms the ionic state. This is called the ground state, the ion. Same metals form coordination complexes even in the atomic state. Such cases, the metal atom does not reach the ionic state. Depending on the need of the ion in the ground state reaches the excited state. In this process, the electrons in the metallic orbitals get rearranged. We see some example how they will be rearranged. First of all, we go the nickel tetracarbonyl, either nickel tetracarbonyl. One example is there. Actually, nickel electron configuration at ground state atom, that is argon 3d8 4s2 4p0. First of all, we show that in electron configuration at ground state atom. When excited state, the electrons are rearranged in these orbitals to form a hybridization. So here the argon atom which have 4s electron, 2 electrons are rearranged in 3d orbitals in excited state. So it has undergoes to sp3 hybridization. So in sp3 hybridization, it requires 4 vacant orbitals. So that the carbonyl 4 carbonyl groups are donates. Each one has a pair of electrons which are arranged in vacant d orbitals. So in this figure, the electron donated by carbonyl ligands are arranged in these 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals. So we already know that. So for example, coordination number is 4. The structure of the metal atom is tetrahedron. So the nickel tetracarbonyl complex structure is tetrahedron, that is shown in the figure. Then go to the formation of tetrachloronickel -2 and tetracyano -2. The oxidation state of the nickel is +2. Why? Because Cl minus. So Cl chloride ions are 4. So the net charge out of the sphere is -2. So that in that complexes, oxidation state of metal ion, that is nickel, is +2. Each chlorine ion donate 2 electrons. So In ground state atom, nickel has the configuration of Ni plus 2 ion has the configuration of 3d8 and 4s0 4p0. Where come to the in excited state, nickel has rearranged the electrons same like that, undergo sp3 hybridization, so that the 4 chloride ions gives 8 electrons, which rearranged in vacant sp3 hybrid orbitals. So in this, high spin complex will be found. Why? Because outermost orbital are participated in hybridization, so that the outermost orbitals are for participated in hybridization, the complexes will be high spin formed high spin complexes. Then another example is nickel tetracyano nickel 2 minus. In this nickel atom, we already see that is ground state. Atom state is 3d 8 4s2. When it loses and form ion Ni plus 2 ion, the s orbitals have 2 electrons. It loses the 2 electrons and form Ni2 plus ion. So it has 4 as usual. Then in excited state, the electrons are 3d electrons are rearranged, and 1d 3d 5 orbitals will be formed. So here dsp2 hybridization takes place. So 4 pairs of electrons form from 4 cyano ligands. So here inner outer hybrid orbitals are formed in the complex. So it is undergo only sp3 hybridization, 4 pairs of electrons from 4 Cl ligands, but in hybridization inner orbitals are participated. So its structure is square planar, even though its coordination number is 4, but inner hybrid orbitals are formed to bond complex formation. So its structure is square planar and diamagnetic. Why? Because it has no unpaired electrons. While nickel tetrachloro 2 minus is the tetrahedron, it has sp3 hybridization, so it has the high spin complexes and paramagnetic. Why? Because here 2 unpaired electrons are there. The cyano ligands is strong and it forces the 2 unpaired electrons to pair up. That's why here outermost orbital innermost orbital hybridization takes place. It has a low spin compounds and diamagnetic. Then we will discuss about the structure of hexafluorocobalt. In this structure, the cobalt oxidation state is 3d6. Here 4s orbital is vacant, 3 4p3 orbitals are vacant, and 4d orbitals also vacant. Here 6 fluorine atoms are there, so metal atom required 6 vacant orbitals. So 4s1 3 4p and 2 4d orbital, total 6 molecular orbitals were undergone hybridization. So its hybridization is sp3d2. Already we said that the coordination number 6 means the central metal atom shape is the octahedral structure. Magnetic property is paramagnetic, corresponding here 3d orbitals have 4 unpaired electrons. That's why it is a paramagnetic. Then go for another example. hexaammonium cobalt 3. In this structure, the cobalt oxidation state is at ground state, argon 3d6 4s0 4p0. When come to the excited state, cobalt 3d7 4s2. When it loses 3 electrons, so cobalt plus 3 ion, then it undergoes D2 sp3 hybridization, so that the ammonia ligand, 6 ligands is there. So in ground state like that, in excited state, cobalt has give 2 d orbitals, 1 s orbitals, 3p orbitals, so that it undergoes D2 sp3 hybridization, 12 electrons donated by ammonia ligand. Shape of geometry is octahedral. There has no any electrons are there in d orbital, so it is a diamagnetic. This is the structure of cobalt hexaammonium plus 3. These are some examples we discussed according to the valence bond theory. What are the drawbacks of valence bond theory? Many coordination compounds are colored, but it does not explain the color of coordination compounds. Thus, these exhibits adsorption spectra in the visible region. So, valence bond theory did not make a mention about these. So, it does not explain why these compounds are colored. Then, second one is it cannot explain the magnetic behavior based on geometry. Some metals form complex compounds of distorted geometries. For example, copper 2 ions form distorted octahedral complexes. This theory could not give satisfactory explanation for this fact. So it does not explain the magnetic behavior also. For example, in here one example is there, tetra ammonium cobalt copper plus 2. It is sp3 hybridization. The geometry of the complex is tetrahedron. Where come to the according to the X-ray analysis, we found that is square planar. So that is means DSP3 DSP2 hybridization will take place. So its structures may be square planar. So it does not explain why some called inner and some outer complexes of same metal ion in the same oxidation state. So it does not explain that. One, different kinds of ligands form with the same metal complex compounds in different stabilities. So this theory could not explain this also. Even here, copper is the same metal ion, but sometimes it is tetrahedral. So according to X-ray analysis, according to valence band theory, it says that tetrahedral, that is undergo sp3 hybridization, where we find that in according to X-ray analysis, it is square planar, that is dsp2 hybridization. Why? Because the theory does not explain this one. Then another one is the fails to predict the exact geometry of the complexes with the coordination number 4. Already we discussed that. Why it is not explained? Why is this? It is not explained. And the paramagnetic moment of a paramagnetic complexes compound, according to this, is related to the number of unpaired electrons in the complex. But in some complexes, the geometry moment theoretically calculated by the basis of unpaired electrons, it are not the same as those values of moment determined experimentally, and it does not explain magnetic behavior based on geometry. And another one, As we had seen earlier, some octahedral complexes are inner orbital complexes and some are outer orbital complexes. This theory, however, could not explain what are the coordination that behave outer orbital or inner orbital complexes. It's not also explain does does not explain why same called inner and outer complex same metal ion in the same oxidation state. So it's also not explained. And another one drawback is it does not distinguish weak field and strong field ligand. Which one is a strong one, which one is a weak field ligand? It does not distinguish them by valence bond theory. This is another drawback for that. And in if we cannot predict exactly the tetrahedral and square planar structure of four coordinate, already we seen that copper tetra amino copper 2 plus ion. X-ray diffraction studies reveal that this complex behave having a square planar shape. In such case, the hybridization of copper in the complex must be DsP2 for this purpose. But VBT theory explained that it is possible that it has the coordination number 4. It undergo sp3 hybridization and its shape is tetrahedron. Why? Because this is a drawback of this theory. It does not explain or exactly predict that the complex structure either tetrahedron or square planar. So these are the drawbacks of valence bond theory. So to all these aspects were not clearly explained by this theory. Why the Cu plus 2 ion um, different shapes are there, why this theory not explain that. So these are the drawbacks of the valence bond theory proposed by Linus Pauling. So with this few points, today's lecture is completed. That is the valence bond theory. We will discuss in next class the crystal field theory. Thank you.